All right, everyone, here we are with another video with Invest for Tomorrow, and we're going to go ahead and climb aboard of our favorite rocket ship, zooming through the sky, little Einsteins, because we're going to go back in time and we're going to dive a little deep. I don't know if you guys ever heard that verse of a song, the little Einsteins sing it. If you're a millennial, you probably know about it, and if you have younger siblings or any of that sort, you may have heard about it before, but I just felt like saying that because this is going to be our favorite rocket ship for sure. And I believe there's opportunity here. It's not financial advice. I'm not here to speculate and hype this stock up, okay? I want you guys to be aware of that. But I do want you guys to be aware that if you don't come aboard this rocket ship, you're going to just watch it fly. And without even noticing, it's already flying, right? It's actually just not taking off. It's just getting started. It's getting loaded up. But we're going to go over all the reasons why this stock may fly. So if you're a first-time viewer and investor, welcome to the channel. To all the subscribers, welcome back. I can't even believe I said that about the little Einsteins. But man, that was just ringing in my head when I started thinking about rocket ships. So I look forward to seeing your guys' rocket ships down below if you feel positive about this one. But not financial advice. I'm not here to tell you buy, sell, or hold. I'm just here to talk about the raw data and the facts. So always take it with a grain of salt, what I say. But let's jump right into it, okay? All I ask for in return is for you to smash that like button to let me know you watch this video, and it helps out the YouTube channel and lets me know you appreciate the time and effort I put into these videos. And we're going to also discuss a ticker symbol that I've been mentioning over at the Patreon and even here on the YouTube that has exploded. You won't want to miss out on this one. It's up 30%, literally $13 since we mentioned it. All right, so stay tuned for that as well. So Ocugen Inc. We've been watching this one since down here. I always told every single investor and viewer to understand the way this rocket ship worked, right? This stock is that it works on news. And every single time it spiked up, it was on news. And when things were quiet, it was just going downwards, spiked up on news, plus speculation, okay? This was a lot of speculation. So we may not see a big jump like that one. We possibly could. But every time I look at this here and I look at this here, this looks like a bigger version of this smaller version down here. And the only part that's missing to the bigger picture here is this one, right? Like literally, if you look at this and you look at this, you got your spike, you got your downward, you got your spike, you got your downward, you got your downward, your spike, your downward. The only thing we're missing is the bigger picture, right? This piece of the picture. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same or it won't be even close to that. Who knows? But I know that we're waiting for that spike once the FDA emergency use approval happens. So that's something that I want every single investor and viewer to be aware of, that that's where the risk lies here, okay? I want you guys to be aware of that. The risk is there. And if it doesn't happen, this will plummet. So, you know, high risk, high reward, as well as high risk, high losses, okay? A lot of people don't say that. I like to say that to be honest. But let's look at this. And we're going to do a chart analysis as well. We're going to look at where we're sitting and what's going on. So I've talked about this before. The closer it gets to $6, or even if it broke through it, it will look very interesting. I talked about that over at the Patreon back around this time frame here. And it fell down to $5.88, bounced back up to $8 and some change. That was some nice strength. But then it's been pulling downwards closer to $6. I believe this has room to get closer to $6, and it certainly has touched close to it today. Now, I don't know if it can touch it again, or are we finally going to consolidate, or is it going to continue with the weakness? But as long as this stays above $6, $5.80, there's some strength here for the stock. We're just waiting on all the information. So let me share with you guys two excerpts here from different articles, okay? So this was months ago. This is when it was being compared to Pfizer and Moderna, and why Covaxin stock rallied up 130%. This was like literally, if we think about it in terms of the chart, that was probably back around this time, around here when it was like a penny stock, or even around here. So I'm not quite sure at what point it was, but you could see there the growth. It was a lot of growth, 130%. It was probably a penny stock around that time. And basically, Moderna have been rolling out doses. So yeah, this was months ago. Okay, I want you guys to be aware of that. Why should Bharat Biotech and Ocugen captivate investors here? Well, the answer is that the COVID-19 situation continues to worsen. A new strain that experts say is 70% more infectious and plaguing the United Kingdom. So this is when back in Europe, the second type of strain had happened, or the new strain. I don't know if it was second, third, fourth, 400, but this strain was happening, and in the United States it was starting to happen as well. So basically they're saying another vaccine offering is quite appealing. So instead of just looking at Pfizer and Moderna, Ocugen, then Johnson & Johnson came out with their vaccine, and I started saying in the videos, Ocugen needs to pick up the speed unless Ocugen's going to get the opportunity to use Covaxin as a recurring year after year if we need to do that with the vaccine, or that's how the vaccine's going to work. Covaxin may be a little late to get into the revenue of today, but it can have reoccurring revenue year over year over time. I'm not sure. That's what I was always saying once Johnson & Johnson came out a few weeks after this post. But this is what they're really saying. Ocugen says that the Covaxin vaccine does stand out from the others on the market. This is according to the company because Covaxin targets multiple virus protein antigens. In other words, Covaxin could help protect individuals against the evolving COVID-19, okay? With all attention on the pandemic situation, keep Ocugen stock on your radar. They've been saying this months ago. This is very interesting that Covaxin can protect against the evolving COVID-19. Now, some of these other vaccines are starting to state that they can do that as well. At first, Covaxin seemed to have the upper hand at this time of this posting, but something that Covaxin has that's different is the storage, right? It doesn't spoil as easily, and it can be moved around to even more rural areas because of the storage and how it works in its outside environment. It doesn't have to be frozen completely like Pfizer and Moderna. And supposedly it won't spoil for like 2 weeks at room temperature. The second thing is that it uses the inactive form of the COVID-19 in its vaccine. So it's literally one of the few or only vaccines in the world right now that is being done the traditional way that we know how the flu vaccines have been made for the last decades and all the others. Now, that was talked way back around this time. Now, this is the one that's the most updated. And this is the one where it says how Covaxin or Ocugen has an opportunity going into April or probably going into May or June because it's saying in Q2. So if we read here, they talk about all the opportunities and so forth. And Borat Biotech and Ocugen are now seeking an emergency use authorization for its vaccine with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. This is the big King Kong here, right? So right now we're flying through the sky with our rocket ship. Let's just think of it that way. And when we look down, there's this big, huge King Kong that we need to overcome so that Covaxin can come across to the next level. And that's the Food and Drug Administration of the U.S. But the two firms plan to sell 100 million doses of Covaxin in the U.S. starting Q2 2021. So we've already transitioned into Q2 based off of the stock market terminology and time frame. I believe we are. I think it's April. And I think sometime in April, we will find out a little bit more information about the FDA approval. Now, for emergency use. I'm not sure if that's going to happen anytime soon because, yeah, the FDA approval can happen and it could take a little longer for Covaxin to actually start being distributed. But Ocugen can make up to $1 billion, right, in net profit. They literally say 45% of the venture's profits, which would likely amount to $1 billion. That's going to make Ocugen's market cap double. So let's just think about the market cap doubling, number one, and number two, investor sentiment bringing this one up higher, and the news. I think this stock could easily get close to 1.5 or 2x from where it's at, and that's just me being conservative. So this will take off if all of these things go through. If, keyword. So that's what we're really waiting for. The stock is kind of holding itself up, and that's another good thing too. The stock has strength. It hasn't been just collapsing completely, right, in this direction. It's been holding itself up pretty well. Obviously, it's been going downwards, and we want to be aware of that. But through this downward pressure, just gives more opportunity for it to slingshot right back up. But there's some hurdles. And there's a huge, right? Just think about how big King Kong and ferocious he is in the way. King Kong's in the way, and he's ferocious, and he's mad. And if he doesn't like you, it's going to be ugly. So that's the one thing I want you guys to take with a grain of salt. So the 50-day moving average here is 659. Anything below it is bearish. Anything above it is bullish. Okay. So our support to watch is 615. If that gets broken through after sitting at 636, watch it carefully to see if the bulls are trying to gain control or are the bears tearing this one down. Our resistance is right here at 652, but the 50-day moving average, 659, truly needs to be broken through by the bulls to reach newer highs, new resistance levels, and once that's accomplished, obviously the next resistance level would be up here at 680s so that this can continue the upward momentum and rally. But right now, things are a little hesitant. We'll have to see. There's a lot of excitement going into April. This may be Ocugen's month. We'll see. But Covaxin is getting one step closer every time to getting into the US market. And once it does, it's going to reflect in Ocugen's chart and price. So I look forward to seeing how this plays out. I look forward to seeing your rocket ships down below and how you feel about this one. When do you think this could happen? This emergency use FDA approval. When do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen by this month? Will it take till May? And so forth. I look forward to seeing your guys' thoughts. And let's go ahead and jump right into it with the ticker symbol you won't want to miss and you definitely want to have on your watch list. But if you're a first-time viewer and investor, don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell so you don't miss a single video that I post. And guys, smash that like button to help out the YouTube channel. I appreciate it very much. So the ticker symbol that we have in front of us, I've talked about it several times in the last 2 weeks. I've talked about it over at the Patreon. I've talked about it here on YouTube towards the end of the videos more than once. I've even talked about how a lot of investors towards the point of the end of this video, which is this section of the video, investors are dropping out of the video, especially new investors that are coming across my channel and never have seen my channel. They just think about the chart analysis and they don't know about the second half. Well, for those of you that have made it to this point, you're going to learn something new. But I do want you guys to be aware that if you want to get the opportunity to get in on opportunities like this one as early as possible, you can join me over at the Patreon. The link is down below. And I now have a Discord chat room as well where we talk about speculative plays with opportunities in the short term, right? Daily plays, swing trades, and so forth. So if you want to join us, the links are down below. And the slots have gotten filled up pretty fast. I think the first tier is already filled up. And the second tier has very minimal slots left. And then there's other tiers as well with upgrades as you go along. And you'll see that over at the Patreon. But it's ChargePoint, CHPT, ChargePoint Holdings Inc. This is the stock that I've been talking about since way back over here. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Now, I had watched how this stock reacted, how it brought itself back up. And this was the date and weekend that I talked about ChargePoint, okay? If you've seen this before, you already know what I'm talking about. If you're a Patreon member, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But stay tuned because I'm going to talk about how I feel about this chart. So CHPT, everyone focuses on the EV car makers, but forget to focus on the source that gives the EV cars the fuel and drive it needs to perform its purpose. And I talked about how it touched $20 recently in the most recent pullback. I circled in the chart and it was pulling downwards. If it reached $20 or below, it was presenting itself as an opportunity. And from that point forward, you had to pay a close attention. Now, I mentioned this on the 21st. Now, ChargePoint isn't the industry leader, but it's going to get its piece of the pie. That's exactly what I said. So the 21st was right here. This is the weekend. And the 22nd, the stock shot up to $24.94 from $23 and some change. Every single investor had the right to say, yo, like, I thought this was pulling back. Well, all it took was 3 more days, and it fell down closer to $20 to the point that it actually fell below it at $19.57. That was definitely a sign to pay very close attention and make a rational decision based off of your research and information. And that's exactly what happened. And we saw that. We caught that. If this was to have broken through $20 and go lower, I was going to get even more bullish, right? Now, this stock, I wasn't expecting it to run as fast as it did. I did expect it to get closer to 25 in the short term, but there was a lot of compounding effects that brought this one up to the point where it's at now. And a lot of investors are excited to the point that I have here a screenshot of one of the messages today, earlier today. I asked for permission to do this, blocked out everyone else's name, blocked out the person's name, and this is their message. Hey bro, I bought the stock CHPT to try out your alerts and I'm up 12%. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I had been on the red for so long, and I know one of the things to become a good trader is to learn to control one's emotions. That is very true, and that's what we're going to talk about in the stock market and emotional intelligence series over time. That's what I plan on doing. I was feeling a little discouraged, not even going to lie. LOL. And although I know the whole market was down as a whole, since I started buying the ones you have been learning, I'm starting to see green again. I'm very grateful, and this is only the beginning. Thanks, bro. I'm glad I found your YouTube page, and now I'm in your Patreon and Discord. I really like that you communicate well and respond as soon as you're able to. Like I said the other day, communication is key. I try to get back to everyone's messages like right away, but what I'm really excited about here, it's not the fact that CHPT, I saw the opportunity and it's green and it's up. It's not even about the stock. It's about the fact that someone that was feeling discouraged, like anyone could, right, is now motivated again, right? And they're starting to see green. They're also realizing that one's emotions need to be controlled. Those are all the things that we're doing here in Invest for Tomorrow. Not only on the Patreon and the Discord, but also here on the YouTube channel. I always remind you guys, right, to stay focused, control your emotions when I do analyze charts and stuff. So this right here is really exciting to see this type of behavior from members in the group, and it makes me happy to see that not only am I helping others, not only am I motivating others, but also the purpose and goal is being fulfilled for Invest for Tomorrow. So if you want to be a part of that, you can join us. Now, how do I feel about CHPT? Well, CHPT had a nice cool down here, and it's actually consolidating right now, and it's sitting at $30. I think this still has room to run. It might have to cool off again, maybe, just maybe, or consolidate sideways, and this is going to be able to run up towards the 40s, okay? Just got to give it some time. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but it will go through some volatility now. We saw such a fast spike here. I mean, we caught this one literally as it was falling. I told everyone at least $20 to watch it. We were able to caught it down here at the $19 mark for those that were watching it closely. And as it got closer to $20, at the end of the day, it's up a total amount here of literally almost $13 since we went ahead and stated to pay close attention for the opportunity. And that's what we do. We focus on opportunities, even when it doesn't make sense, because every single investor could have been like, yo, it's going up. You said this was going to get closer to $20. Now, I won't be right every single time, but trust me, I take a lot of time and effort to make these videos of chart analysis, and I love charts, and I analyze charts, and when I see opportunities, I look for the details that are signaling that opportunity to get closer to that. And if it doesn't get all the way down to 20 or 19, I mean, even if it touched 21 or 22, you as an investor have to rationalize, okay, this is pretty close to $20. It's bouncing back up and consolidating. Let's say it did this a little bit higher up here. You have to decide and say, okay, this is looking like an opportunity. It might not hit $20, but this is the closest we got. And then it will take off anyways, right? So those are the things that I like to do, prepare and equip every single investor. And not only did I talk about it in the Patreon, I talked about it literally on the 26th here on YouTube. So on YouTube, towards the second half of the videos, every single investor had a chance almost as equal to the ones on Patreon. Then I talked about it again at $26, okay, here on YouTube. And I said there's still room. And look, it went up to 32. That was a total amount of $6. So if you missed out on the full run, you still got a nice 50% chunk of the run. Now, could this continue? I think this does have room to go upwards closer to 40 plus, but that might take some time. That's not going to happen overnight. And what I'm really looking for here now is consolidation or a slight pullback again like the one we saw, but closer to it or a little bit below it before it shoots up again to newer highs. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.